This is a half sovereign, and this is sliced bread. So sliced bread was first minted in 1928, and it was advertised as the greatest forward step in baking industry since bread was wrapped. Now this half sovereign is from 1926, so a couple of years earlier. Bread's been around for quite a while, not sure how long, but quite a while, longer than me. And half sovereigns, as we know them today in this modern form, have been around since 1817. Enough about the bread. For today, I want to talk about the half sovereign. So the pros and the cons of the half sovereign and the case for the half sovereign. So in the UK, obviously, it is beneficial if you can hold capital gains tax exempt coins. So coins generally with a face value, like the sovereign, Britannias, etc. Now, when it comes to small gold, you have many options. You could go into the fractional gold. To be honest, I'd consider a sovereign fractional gold. It's smaller than an ounce. So to me, that's fractional. Well, here we have, obviously, the full on the right, the half on the left. So you can see a half sovereign is not actually half the size of a full sovereign. It is half the gold content and approximately half the weight, but it's not half the diameter. So the thickness is a bit of a difference. On the half sovereign, we have just over a mil thick, and on the full sovereign, we have 1.54 mil thick. So it's about half a mil thicker. And like I said, the diameter is not half; it's only slightly smaller. It's about sort of 80%, 90% of the diameter there. And obviously, these are just under 4 grams. Versus these just under 8 grams. One of the advantages of a smaller coin is that it costs less. So when people say it costs less, they mean that it is cheaper to buy this coin than it would be to buy this coin. The half sovereign tends to have a lower premium than similar equivalents. So the argument that it's cheaper, it is cheaper for the one coin, but for your weight of gold, it is more expensive. So that's the reason why I haven't got many half sovereigns. So with the half, like the full, there are different designs, different monarchs, different portraits, and there's plenty to keep investors and collectors busy. There's special designs, there's proof coins, there's bullion coins, there is everything you could want in between. There's possibly the argument that in the future, as the gold price rises and perhaps it becomes less affordable for people to shell out for a full sovereign, or an ounce of gold, or whatever it might be, maybe then they will turn to half sovereigns as just a more convenient way of stacking. So for those who like their fancier coins, it is obviously possible to pick up a lot of the special designs in the half sovereign format. So instead of paying £1,500 or above for a full sovereign of this 1989 design, you can pay £500-600, maybe a little bit more, for the half sovereign. And whether you get the full or the half, the coin is obviously the same design, it looks the same. It's a nice way of getting the same coin and just having it at a lower price point. So it makes your collecting either cheaper, or maybe it just means you can buy more variety with the same money. So in terms of disadvantages, when it comes to half sovereigns, they are obviously a little bit higher premium. So you want to make a smaller purchase and buy less gold at a time. It is just one of the downsides of buying it, but remember, it is generally better than your tenths and things like that. So another potential disadvantage with the half sovereign, they were potentially circulated more than full sovereigns, if I were to speculate. So like today, you don't see as many of the large denominated notes and coins, you see more of the smaller ones. So when you look back in time, people weren't necessarily going to the shop to buy bread with a half sovereign. They were perhaps reserved for bigger transactions. Obviously the gold content was worth far more than your sliced bread, your loaf of bread in the shop. But like I say, they perhaps were circulated more. Now, I don't often see as many good quality half sovereigns as I do full sovereigns. Like this full sovereign that I've got here is in quite nice condition, very, very good. It's got a bit of luster, not much wear at all. But I just don't see many half sovereigns in that kind of form and that kind of format, They are generally a bit more worn. Not always, but generally. So I think when I'm looking at best value coins, in general, I've tended to have better quality in the full sovereigns than the half. And obviously, if you're buying 1 ounce coins, you can get brand new minted coins as well as you can with sovereigns and halves. But it's just perhaps harder to get hold of nicer condition ones. They tend to perhaps have a bit more wear. Now, that might just be my experience. If you've had a different experience, I'd be interested to hear in the comments. And like I said, these are the 2 sovereigns that I've picked up recently, the 2 Perth sovereigns. So 1916 is just after the First World War started, and 1920 is still, within that sort of time frame where resources were perhaps a bit thinner, especially for the UK, and times were perhaps a bit tougher there, obviously with the war efforts and whatnot. So interesting stuff. The first Perth sovereigns were minted with Victoria, so the old head, the old portrait, the veil head, and the final ones were at the end of George's reign. So you couldn't get 1932, but you could get close to there. So a nice long run of coins if you're interested. And in terms of the halves, they were available at many of the different mints. Not all of them, but many of them. So they are an option if you are interested in collecting, a variety, then definitely take a look. So that's the half sovereign. Let me know what you think.